start from small things. Don't automate like the huge thing. You'll fail with that. Small things, combine them together if they work.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Test, Optimize, and Scale. I love marketing episodes. I love growth conversations. And Tom Winter, Chief Growth Officer at SEOwind, is going to dive deep with us today on the world of digital, SEO, AI, a topic that we're all infatuated by, but looking for more understandings, more application of how we can see value impact in our day-to-day lives, in our businesses, in our growth. Tom, pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time from the other side of the world of that to hop onto the show.
Thanks a lot, Jason. It's like really amazing to be here. As I already told you, like I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and they were tremendous. They gave so much feedback that really happy to be here and be able to share some knowledge from my side.
I really appreciate that, especially from a marketing expert such as yourself. That really goes a long way, because we try to speak to audiences that are starting their business and hitting their first milestones, as well as the best in the world who are at the forefront. So glad to hear it's resonating. And just to familiarize the audience a bit, who are you? What do you do? How did you get into this world of AI development and overall marketing growth?
Okay, so personally, I'm half a developer, half a marketer, and I love to combine these two. I'm definitely a developer that is an extrovert. I like talking and I like a little bit of sales also. So this is like the combination of skills that I have in me. I'm a serial founder. I focus on SaaS tools, so software as a service. Earlier, I developed with a couple of friends a tool to test developers' skills and map out the skills inside the company. We work with Fortune 500 companies. And right now I'm focused on SEOwind. SEOwind is an AI writing tool. So like we use it for writing articles, but it's focused on the research part. For us, like research part is 80% or even 90% of the whole task, because if you do a proper research, you're able to deliver to AI context that it needs to perform, like to create something of value. You can hear a lot that AI creates fluff. We want to reduce it as much as possible.
It's all about prompts. It's about the conversation. It's what you're asking it to put out. And you need the right captain behind the wheel of the ship, they say. If you have someone with no understanding of writing, they're going to see a bunch of text pop up and say, wow, this is amazing. I don't have to do the work. Where if you have a Pulitzer Prize winner, what they're looking for and the actual architecture of the writing itself is going to be drastically different. And what they demand for the AI to put back is going to be a radically different product.
A little bit, yes, I would say prompts are important, but from my perspective, the most important part, and don't think about here AI writing, it's like using AI for anything. For me, the most important part is the context. Context is the king. Like earlier, we were saying in SEO, content was the king. Right now, context is the king, and you can create with AI anything that you want if you can deliver the proper context. Why context? Because I treat AI as a logical engine, not a search engine. So when you're thinking about a search engine, you're asking a search engine for specific data. The problem is with AI that AI is a little bit similar to how our minds, how our brains work. So if we do something, let's go with AI writing because that will be easy to understand. If you're a special matter expert in the field, if you would be writing an article on your own, like using your hands, as you normally did without AI, you would do a research, proper research. You would find like additional statistics, thoughts, maybe some insights from experts and so on, even if you're a special matter expert. And then you would combine it all together to create something of value. So like think about AI in a similar way. It was trained on vast amounts of data. It's like really amazing tool, but it's a logical engine. It knows how to put things together. And if you deliver the right context, apart from like the prompt part, which is important, but context that it can use to provide you feedback on, it will work a lot better. And it can work like that in any niche. Like if you're thinking about medical niche, for example, if you would be able to pull all the data based on the symptoms that the patient has about probable diseases that the patient has and deliver this to AI as context, the results of the question that you have about like what is the cause of my problems like will be much better, much more efficient, because AI will use logically the data that you provided. The context window, like this is how it's called, is limited, I would say. So it has a lot of brain power. It knows a lot, but it doesn't mean that it knows everything by heart. It's just like you humans, like us humans. We all went to primary school. We've learned a lot there. Like probably in history, there were a lot of dates that we went through. But it doesn't mean right now that we can know by heart all the dates that we've learned in the primary school. It's just the same with AI. It knows how to resolve problems. It knows how to logically go through things and grab the data that it needs to provide you the information. But at the moment, something that you should work on is providing context. And this is also one of the things that all big AI companies are working on. That's why you're seeing deep research into the whole AI, because they're using something that is called retrieval augmented generation to gather the knowledge that AI needs to make decisions to retrieve the data to you.
So you said 80% research, and you need that to create the context. What does that consist of? I know people's brains go all different places when we say the word research. AI, even more so. So is it just pulling the right articles, actually absorbing them yourself? Is it telling the AI to absorb them? Universities run research where it's physical tests and looking to get the data. I want to demystify the word research. But what does that 80% actually revolve around?
Okay, to answer in one word, I would say all of that. So basically,
3 words.
Which is the answer that you would not like to hear. But the thing that like when you're researching things, like we combine a couple of tools together, like a couple of ways to resolve that. So first of all, like if we are focused on SEO driven content that brings organic traffic. So we know like the king of SEO is Google. So like we have to go to Google and check like what exactly is the search intent. So we definitely need to go into all of the pages that rank in Google for a specific term and also understand exactly what they do. So we go to every single page of them, but that's the easy part, I would say. Based on this initial context, we can also pull SEO data from different sources. So like pull it all together to understand exactly what is the search intent and what kind of other things we can rank for and what we can go after. Based on this and the knowledge that we can provide as humans, we can create a brief and the outline. And here the fun part starts with like AI on steroids, because at the moment what we did, we created a couple of agents that resolve certain things autonomously based on what they think they should do. So when we start writing the article, we need to pull as much data as possible. We already have competition. We know exactly what they did. How did they know the search intent? Because they actually did that. But what we need to be like, be as valuable as possible, we need additional statistics, trends, thought leadership insights, maybe go to some educational context, maybe some research and so on. But I, as a human, like when we created a tool, I can't predict what the user wants, like what the user will need in this specific brief, because every single brief is different. We have customers that have shoe stores. We have high-tech companies that have state-of-the-art software. So what we do, we actually ask AI to make decisions. We built an agent that we call AI research agent that has access to multiple tools that it can retrieve data from. And based on that, and based on the brief that we provide, it can actually make decisions, what kind of data it needs to feed it into the context. We use multiple ways to find the context and add it into specific places, not to overwhelm also AI, because it's not about giving AI a book that is 300 pages big and saying like, do something with that, because it will never do. but it's about telling AI exactly what to do and where. So like if you have an article, you're going section by section, telling, look, AI, here are statistics that you can use for this heading. Here are additional insights that you can use. Here's our special matter expert that actually added information into the brief about this specific thing, and it has to understand. So this research agent exactly focuses on that. Like it gets into different data points to retrieve the data and to make the context available to AI. It uses like different technologies for that. I don't want to go into details. Then we write an initial draft, right? For the initial draft, we use more or less 150,000 words of context to write 3,000 words article, like as an initial version, and then write a draft. Based on this draft, another fun thing happens because we build an agent, because we saw from humans' perspective that if we have a draft of any article, what we do, we proofread it. We check how it looks like because we finally see how it looks like. And then we start to evaluate to see like, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the action points that we need to do to make it better? So this is exactly what AI, like in our case, does. It's an agent that goes through the article, makes these decisions, and then gives tasks to other kind of agents, how it can, like what kind of data it needs to retrieve, additional data, because finally it sees the whole article, and what it should do with the article to improve it. And based on that, it rewrites the whole thing based on feedback. And it's all about like what other things you can do, but the mindset is not to have a step-by-step process, but to have kind of decision points in the process, any process. It can be a writing process like mine, to make decisions and what it should do to make some decisions better. So this is the amazing part that we see right now with AI in any niche, that we can include AI into decision-making, and not only decision-making, but also doing the tasks and running the code and executing, not only giving an answer.
It's funny that you say you have the agents put together the work and then you have people proofread it, where when I was growing up, you put together a piece of literature, an article, and you submit it to your computer to proofread it. But that makes all of the difference for the tangible assets it pumps out. And I find, I asked the research question because I find it to be, likewise, when you say 80%, one of the most important steps of the process. If we're creating a marketing strategy, we'll have clients that want us to just come in, run advertising, have it live tomorrow. Let's see the results. We only care about performance. This is what we hear, where I have to take them a step back and explain, good strategy. We're building an algorithmic roadmap to your goals. And I've built a model called the 8-point plan. It takes place over the course of a week, 2 sections per week. And just focusing on the first week, it's the industry overview and the competitor marketing audit, where we're trying to do the right research. And again, clients will hear it and think, okay, we know about our industry. We know about our business. Let's skip that. I don't want to pay for it. I don't put the time there. Hold on. We need our context. We need to understand really 2 to 3 different industries that you touch, the size, how they've grown, the events, the publishers, everything about the key players. Then in the competitor marketing audit, which I say is somewhat the most valuable section of the plan, I want to know everything that brands are doing to obtain digital market share. So what are they doing on social media? What are they advertising? What are they posting organically? What days and time of week are they getting the most engagement? What types of content are producing the most responses, the most comments, the most likes, and what we could actually see when we're auditing? How much traffic are they getting to their site? What are the key traffic drivers from which markets, geographically, demographically? Who's talking about them on social media? Then who's talking about them in the news, in the media? What are they sending out as an email newsletter? Which email newsletters are talking about them? I need to understand everything about what the target audiences will be soon going after are responding to in correlation to their brand before I start putting together a plan. And then what I map out and the actual creative that goes inside it is far more impactful. So we do the audiences, the channels, the creative, strategic partnerships, all into projections before doing an executive summary of the whole thing. And if I skip those steps, it's far more surface. It's weak. It's shooting from the hip and just, hey, this could work. So what you're saying is AI needs the same input. You need to put your research in. You need to show, and with your agents, it's far more straightforward, where they need to obtain different pieces of information. And again, the context, they need to get a gauge on the conversation that's occurring between a brand and an audience, or whatever they're pulling in, to then put out the highest quality content to then compete for these keywords in search engine ranking, search engine optimization, and actually be effective.
You nailed it. Basically, this is exactly what like I would say to a person, that like you need this research. But the funny part, when you're talking to people, when you're talking about AI, what they expect from AI is to answer straight away. Like they don't need to give all the information that you just went through, like that you did research. So if I would ask AI to give me the strategy that you're building, I would forget about all of these things, all of these steps that you mentioned that you have to go through. And because you're an expert, you use your brain as a logical engine. So you need to still like retrieve the data that you need to make decisions. And again, AI is a logical engine. So if we just ask AI, like, give me the strategy for this and this company, most of the people will forget about all of these steps that you have to actually put in so AI can produce like something of value. And this is where you are far better than AI, because you know all the steps, what kind of data you need to make the decision. And the biggest problem of AI, like in my opinion at least, it's that it always answers. If it knows, if it doesn't, it will answer. And we never know based on what. Like, so this is why we need to provide context. Then we know why it answered in a specific way.
It's a funny way to put it, and it's true. And I've seen the wrong answers before in AI. I also have my reservations towards AI, by the way, because I'm seeking out the best quality. So if that's from a human, if that's from an AI, and in many cases, it is the technology, it is AI. I go back to that analogy of who's behind the wheel and being able to sift through and make the right edits. But I ask myself, time aside, what is going to have a better output? But as you're stating here, with the right infrastructure, these tools can apply their logic and with the right context, put out something that is amazing. It just has to have the right infrastructure.
Right context, like, because when you're looking at AI, like we saw a tremendous growth, like what we saw in the last 2 years, it was like amazing. Like going from GPT-2 to GPT-4 was like a growth never seen before in human history. But I've read a LinkedIn post just 2 weeks ago from a like really well-known developer, and they said just to train the newest model right now, GPT-4.5, which was released, I think, last week, it costed like $1 billion, I think, to train it. When it goes to GPT-4, it was, I think, $100 million, like more or less. I might be wrong with the numbers, but
I've heard
basically what I
similar
want to
stats.
say, it's like 10 times more, like that the new model will cost like than the previous one. And the gain in the value is just like 12%. So we will not see a growth that we saw from GPT-2 to GPT-4. That's like all the low-hanging fruits are gone, like in AI at the moment. We don't have any ideas like on the technology, how to improve GPT, like, or any LLM models significantly like we saw in 2 years back. It will improve, but the cost is like every single time like 10x, and the improvement is just like 15%. That's why we haven't seen GPT-5 for a year already, I think. It should be here, but it's not, because it's really difficult. So right now, what developers are doing, they're doing a lot of hacks connected to AI, how to provide more context, more like power to AI. That's why we see all these reasoning models, which first think through what to do and then do it. Because it's a hack. Technically, it was like we were able to do it a year back, but nobody thought about this hack. Another thing is retrieving data and using it from a vector database, which is called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. So exactly what I said, pulling the data that it needs to answer a question. Simple as that. Because then it can use logical thinking to do it. Mm-hmm. And why are we talking here about like doing all this stuff? Because it's useful for scaling any kind of business, anything that you want. It can be SEO, it can be marketing, it can be sales, it can be product related. But like the mind, the way of thinking is just the same.
So let's paint the picture on SEO. Search engine optimization. Everyone wants to be at the top of Google and these other platforms. And SEO has been around since the beginning. And Google, these other platforms say they will reward good quality content that's stimulating social shares, high authority links. That is the goal. There's been many iterations of what is effective at SEO. And then the platform search engines have noticed gray hat, black hat type approaches, things that break the rules or fringe upon it, and they'll put over updates, they'll change their algorithm, so they're authentically ranking authoritativeness, relevancy for users to engage with the best quality of content. What is working in 2025 here for SEO, and how is SEO the steroids for these types of campaigns to be able to produce stronger performance?
Okay, so SEO experts will kill me for that. But basically, in my opinion, the approach from Google didn't change for the last 20 years. They always wanted a simple thing, best value to the end user. Easy as that. This is the whole SEO. You have to deliver value to the end user. This is how Google approached it from the beginning. The only thing that changed, Google became a far better referee at actually executing on this specific thing. And this is what we're talking about, gray hat SEO, black hat SEO. In 2010, you could spam backlink to your website, and then your website grew. And we all knew at some point, like in 2010, 2012, that we will get caught on some point. Like basically Google will find a way to find the people that are backlinking, spam backlinking to the pages. But right now we have at the moment AI, which we all use for AI writing. Like, because if you're not doing that, like then it's difficult to work without AI when AI, like writing any kind of content. But it's just a tool, like, and it's legal, so that's not a problem. All what we should think about is how to put valuable content out, something that brings value to the end user, because Google wants to give the best answer to the people that are asking the questions in Google. This is their business. Like, this is the core of their business. They always want to provide the best possible answer. But right now, when we have AI, you can go to ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever, Gemini, and you can create content like that. But the content is not up to the point. It's fluff. Like, this is what you see on LinkedIn, that it's not valuable. Like, even if you hack it a little bit, like, it will become more valuable, but it's not good enough. And because Google became like really good referee in actually understanding what's valuable and what's not, they're removing a lot of content from the internet. Human written spam, AI written spam, doesn't matter. It will just like remove it. And actually, to be honest, from my perspective, it made some space, a lot of space in Google, because they remove a lot of spam from the internet. So if you can create content like that is valuable using humans or using AI, you'll be rewarded for that. And this, in my opinion, works. What I mean by valuable content, so something that has data inside, has tables, has anything, opinions, expertise, quotes, anything that is visually, you can see it, and builds trust. So if you're going through any of your content and you feel it looks like spam, it is spam. So if you have even the feeling, that means like you're right. So that's why I'm saying like it's focused on answering people's questions. And this is how I would approach SEO in 2025. But doing that, it's not easy when you do it by hand as a human. If you go to ChatGPT, ask it, write me an outline for this and that topic. Based on this outline, write me an article. This is the definition of spam.
But with the right research, with the right context, I like to say I shouldn't recognize that anything is AI. And to your point, if you're noticing it, it probably is. I could see it in visuals quite a bit. I could feel it in writing. I could feel it in emails, stuff that people send me. It should be unrecognizable. And through the right research, through the right context, through the right keyword research and doing the on-site audit and determining your strategy for where you want to compete, and then gauging the quality of the content, the value, the relevancy, looking at the trends, as you mentioned, beyond just the stats and what's being put out in terms of thought leadership, you could position to really lead that space. But it takes a lot of work around it. It takes a lot of the proofreading, if you will, and seeing what's physically getting the reaction you had played for and what you need to shift. So it's not an autopilot. You can use this logic engine to aid in what you're doing and put out more quantity, improve the quality, but it needs strict oversight given the parameters you set with the right context and research at the beginning.
Definitely, I would like to see help of a human. I call it cyborg method. So a human working with AI together, not against each other.
You said cyborg meta?
Method. Like, so basically cyborg method, like humans working with AI together. We can amplify on each other's skills because like we both have superpowers. It's all about combining them together. But like from my perspective, I don't mind if I can notice even that something is written with AI. Because as I said, Google has nothing against it. Let's be honest, 80% of all the content produced like is enhanced somehow in the process using AI. I don't believe that people are not doing that. I don't mind, but I do mind if it looks like fluff. I do mind if you can basically smell that it's spam. And I don't distinguish AI written content from human written content in the sense like if they're both spam, they're equally bad. So from my perspective, I use AI to humanize content. So like just to get rid of everything what you said that you don't like to see. It's easy. I can do it using AI. So just to humanize the content to make it indistinguishable from human written content. But in my opinion, I just prefer to focus on proofreading to make it more engaging, remove fluff, remove like redundancy from it, remove repetitive things that it goes over and over again that makes no sense, and increase the quality, increase the value. So experience, expertise, everything that is basically hidden behind EEAT. And I believe that we're getting closer and closer to AI handling even 90% of the whole process. Of course, it would be nice to have an oversight of a human. Also, like to give additional feedback from humans' perspective, like expertise, because you talk to the product team, you talk to the customers, you have a lot of experience, you did a lot of good things and bad things. You know what you can actually do to increase certain things. So why not to add your expertise into the context? This is also important. But when I'm thinking about going to ChatGPT and doing this process, even knowing all my steps like that I have and all my prompts, it would take me probably over a day to fill out all the prompts, just fill them out to get to a point that I will write the article. And this is why I feel like it's the combination of AI and executing specific tasks, so old-fashioned programming, Python, that actually can handle specific things. That's why we're talking about agents. The definition of AI agents is tools like using AI that can not only autonomously make decisions on what to do, but can execute it, can retrieve specific data that they have access to and bring you back the result that you want based on like the autonomous task that they did. So they take open-ended questions kind of into account, and they figure out like what is the path to resolve this question and resolve this problem, and then they execute it to do it. And we can think about agents in multiple ways. Right now, like the most commonly or like most famous agents would be Perplexity agents that can do shopping for you. So actually can make decisions like you tell it like I want to buy this and that, and it will actually go through the pages and find the best offer and will buy it for you. So even like execute this part. And there's like other agents that at the moment we can see that are performing these tasks, but these are autonomous decision makers. So basically, if I would have an agent and I would talk to it saying like, look, I need to get some money, it will make a decision what kind of path it has to go through to bring me some money, and to execute it to make it. Of course, like this is something abstract way of thinking, but like this is how it would work.
So Perplexity, I understand from the shopper, the consumer end, from the business side of this, content creation, CEO, CFO. Hey, I just want results. What is the return on advertising spend? What is the marketing efficiency ratio? How can I do more to then ramp the company up further? What can you do with this content? We talked about ranking on search engines, and we talked about how that can bring organic traffic in. You're giving value, no fluff with the content. You're talking about experience, expertise, maybe throwing some numbers in there and aspects of your research that are of real value to the end audience. But you're bringing traffic through that gets to your site, to your funnel. Maybe that content is created, humanized, as you said, with AI. You could have advertising running. The management of ads can be amped up with AI. The creation of advertising, messaging, visuals at that. What are some other applications here? What can we say that is compelling to a CFO in terms of why they should be investing into AI content development, AI SEO support, AI agent development? What is the big picture for someone just looking at the financial aspect of this?
Okay, that's a great question. I'll answer it with one of the things that like is a side project that I had fun with in the last few months. I was a speaker at Brighton SEO, which is the biggest SEO conference in UK, probably like on this side of the globe, like it's one of the biggest. And there were a couple of speakers at this conference that were telling to the audience, SEO experts and marketers, how you can retrieve data from Google Search Console and Google Analytics and analyze it, like go push it to BigQuery and then use SQL and BERT and a couple of other technologies to retrieve the data that you want from Google Analytics. Like I was looking at the audience. I'm a half a developer. I understood what they were saying, but they were like really quick with all the things, how you can use SQL and a couple of like, basically you need to be a data scientist to retrieve all the data that they were talking about from the stage. I looked at the people and it's like, they were nodding their heads. And I was like, yeah, like you understand anything, like you don't. And I thought like, okay, what if we would be able to talk to this data like that we have from Google Analytics. So all the analytics data that we have about like the visitors on the website in a natural language. Simple as that. Because like most of these people don't know SQL, they're not data scientists. What if we could retrieve this data within like 30 seconds, 1 minute, because the agent would actually knows how the data is structured and knows how to resolve the problem, how to get you the data that you want. And it applies to any place that has data. So if we're thinking about the CFO that has a large data set of anything, what if we could talk to this instead of an Excel sheet? we could talk to this data in a natural language. Like we would talk to a data analyst, data scientist, and retrieve the data, because the agent orchestrator would define what kind of things we need to perform to resolve the problem. And the cool part is that to the agent, like agent can have like multiple tools. So at the moment, if you're a CFO and you're really good with Excel sheets, even let's go with you're an SQL expert, so you know how to use this, you'll be able to retrieve the data and get some insights about the data that you have. But what if I would ask you, like right now, make prediction model for the future? Every CFO wants a prediction model. Come on.
Yeah.
So what they do, they try to take like the data and they try to create some kind of a query in Excel sheet, like or spreadsheet, to predict the future. What if I would tell you, you can ask the AI agent to make a machine learning prediction model based on the data, and just ask it in a natural language? And then you would need a data scientist that knows how to use Python and knows how to create prediction models using machine learning. That's top-notch skills. I want to have things like that. I want to talk to my data. I don't want to analyze it. I want to talk to it.
And data is only as good as what you do with it. So, like you said, having to apply very expensive developers, manage them through the process, or be able to, have the right consultant build out this type of structure, that's a savings for the CFO. And then being able to position it to drive more traffic, drive more conversions, whether it's e-com, user acquisition, lead generation for B2B type companies, marketing initiatives. We work on a lot of B2I, but business to investor, capital raise type campaigns, so targeting investors, bringing them through. You're then going to be able to really lean into it and outperform these other groups in the space.
Agreed. Like I always say to people, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you have the data and you don't know how to use it, come on, like it's useless.
Yes.
It's garbage.
I'm always baffled by differences of opinion towards metrics. Let's say it's an advertising report. To the untrained eye, it could just look like a bunch of numbers, even marginal performance. To someone who's just looking at the sheer return that day, could miss the real value, where looking at pockets of performance and being able to optimize towards the audiences, the creatives, the funnels, even if it's just a small allocation of the daily spend at that point. And this doesn't have to be paid. This can be from your organic traffic sources and what's actually pushing things in. And then with the right maneuvering, being able to do more of what's physically driving for you and be able to hit much higher levels of, we'll call it market share as a result. But just the wrong analysis can prevent that from you, and you could stop spends, you could stop organic efforts towards a piece of it here. So the more support you can get there, the better.
And you have to remember that we're just humans, right? So we want
just
to
humans.
Get our wins like every single time. So what we will do to get our wins and prove our point, we will justify the hell out of data. This is how we work. This is how our brain works. Like we don't want to prove at any point that we made some mistakes. So like if you made some decisions in the past and right now you're analyzing if you succeeded or not, I give it like 70% or 80% chance that you succeeded. That means like you'll prove that you were right, because nobody wants to admit that you did a wrong decision, right? But like looking at the data scientist, like AI, if you give it like specific questions, it will look at it like from a bird's view, right? Without any emotions, any attachment to the data, any attachment to like the decisions that were made. It will just try to resolve the problem. Easy as that.
And it'll answer every time.
Yeah, like this is the problem. So we have to understand like what it did to resolve the problem in this case. Like, so we have to understand a little bit more. So as an expert in data, we still should go through the way of thinking and just to understand exactly how did it came up with the answer. So if you're looking at this data, but that's really amazing, like what it can do. I was like amazed with what I saw, what agents can do with data. At the same time, a little bit scared.
Sure.
Because it was so good.
I know that feeling. And, just sifting through this, I know many other audience members have that feeling. What should they be testing out, listeners, viewers, towards their own marketing model, towards their own growth, towards their own AI utilization and management? What are some things they could do on their own listening to this episode here today?
So anything that you're doing on daily basis and you're repeating, you can automate a lot of things. Don't be afraid of breaking things, because you will break 100 things before you get it right. And that's easy as that. Like, it will not be good at the first attempt, but when you will be trying things and trying to resolve the things that you're repeating on daily basis, you will get better. One of the simplest things to start with, like everybody hates it, it's reporting. And it's a repetitive task. You have to go like to the same amount, like same data every so often. It's kind of a workflow, because like you actually look at the same data points because you have to report to somebody. I would start with talking with all my team. At the moment, I saw a big trend with agencies. They're opening up something that they call AA councils. Their goal is to gather the people from the whole company and talk to everybody to see what tasks should we automate. What are the repetitive tasks that like you don't like to do? What can we speed up to make your work more efficient? And it's not about like implementing AI to fire people. It's about implementing AI to make your company better, hit different goals, and actually grow, make it more competitive on the market. So the question is, what are these tasks that we can go through and we can automate with AI workflows or AI agents, or even like simplest automations that we can do, and just find a way how to implement it step by step. It can be in marketing. So for example, content creation. It can be in search engine marketing. So basically any kind of ads. It can be in finance. It can be in reporting. We can actually build better presentations for VCs. That's also good, because we can talk with AI to exchange thoughts about things. We can add like data points. So what kind of information we can get out of the data that we have to be able to sell better.
So I love that exercise. What can we speed up? What can we automate? What about the tool selection and actually determining, because there's a plethora of options. Is it just using a ChatGPT, Claude, Grok? Is it looking at specific SaaS tools for any of these applications, finance, video production, graphic design? Is there, would you recommend working with a consultant, reading articles? I mean, some of that's AI driven. What about tool selection once you've made that list and determine what you want to test out from there?
So in my opinion, like if I would have a list of things that I want to automate, I would look for SaaS tools that are specialized in a specific niche. If we're looking at ChatGPT, it's a general use tool, or like Claude or Gemini. You can talk to it. It's the simplest way of solving certain problems, but it has limitations. You have to deliver the context on your own, which takes a lot of time, like a lot, I mean. When you're looking at tools that are SaaS tools specialized in a certain thing, let's go with SEOwind, which is an AI writing tool. We do a lot of work, legwork on the back end. So we go through vast amounts of data to pull the data that you need to make decisions. So you don't even see AI working, kind of, because it's under the hood. We give you the information that you need to make decisions. And this is our goal, like to simplify the process. And there's multiple SaaS tools in different niches that work in a similar way. They use AI to make decisions underneath, under the hood, but they just help you out to simplify the process. They will pull the data that you need to get the best results. Like you can't do it with ChatGPT or Claude. But I'm not saying not to use Claude or ChatGPT. It's like just different use case. If you want to test out some general things, like certainly start from there. I always say, like, I love to develop things as human as a service. So instead of SaaS, I call it HaaS. First, I need to go through the process as a human to actually understand how to automate it.
Yes.
Because people have this tendency like to that they went through a perfect process and then they go to AI and ask a simple question and saying like, it's not giving me an answer. And I'm asking them, did you go through the same process that you normally do as a human with AI? Did you provide all the information that you normally get with AI? And they said like, no, I wanted just an answer. It's like, it doesn't work this way.
It's funny because it's so simple, yet it's so important to emphasize. And well said, Haas. I'm going to actually quote you on that and use that term. What about optimization? Not everything works right out of the gate. Like you said, you have to break it 100 times, really ensure you're getting the best result out. But even once you do that, you're taking it to market, say it's for a marketing campaign, could be, for what you're doing for your financial modeling, anything like that. But let's say it's for marketing and it's not producing the results you need. You're not ranking, you're not getting enough organic traffic. What are the best approaches towards optimization and managing to a point of effectiveness?
So first of all, and it's like applicable to any kind of project, when you start the project, like, so when you actually start creating something, define the success metrics. Like first, don't define them at the end, define them in the beginning. So you will
KPIs.
actually know like a KPI that if you will achieve that, this and that within 3 months, you will say like this project is a success project. Because if you will not do it, like again, coming back to humans, we will justify the hell out of the data to prove that we were right. And it doesn't work this way. So if you have these metrics, you know what to optimize because you know if you hit them or not. So this is how I would approach. And I would try multiple approaches to see like which ones work. Like, so I would diversify to a couple of things. I would not focus on one thing that has to work. If you want to gamble, just go to a casino. I don't like gambling. I do like to diversify my risk. Like, so if you're looking for a source of leads, definitely diversify within SEO, but also diversify outside of SEO. Like just go with what you do, like podcasts, like reaching out to people directly, maybe some other sources, and see what works for you. And then amplify basically on the things that give you the best ROI. Simple as that. But you can only know it if you have defined what is the thing that you want to do within 3 months, let's say. What are the KPIs that you will look at? Because if you will not do that, you will justify everything.
Yeah, I get asked to speak on growth hacking panels. And the first thing I say is, define your growth model. And it amazes me when I'm speaking to founders directly that in some cases they're kind of shooting in the dark, looking for shortcuts, but they don't know what they're actually looking to produce. I like to say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You're not actually committed. You don't think it's actually going to work. So to be able to have the algorithms, we break it down as impressions, clicks, conversions, how many times a piece of content has been seen, how much traffic it's driving to the destination, and how many conversions are coming out, even at each stage of the funnel. But without that, you can't identify the key drivers. You can't pinpoint where traffic's falling off and looking to optimize at that point. And as you said, run variants, run multiple tests, and getting to amplification, scale. It's what we're all playing for, right? Any tips, any examples, any insights that you can share, perhaps utilizing AI to be able to scale more aggressively, more successfully?
Definitely, I'm treating AI as my teammate. Like at the moment, I'm working with it directly. I can scale my team using AI probably tenfold. Just because AI has like really an amazing skill. It listens to the process, not like humans. So if you have like a process that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you employ a new human to go through this process, at some point they will say like, oh, actually the point 3 makes no sense. I will skip it. If you will automate the process, you will actually replicate whatever you're doing, and you can scale it using AI to get you closer to what you want. I'm not saying like that AI will take over from everything that you did, but if it can bring you closer, if it can do 80, 90% of the work for you, and then you jump in as a specialized person, like just to make the decisions in sales decisions, marketing decisions, whatever decisions, then it simplifies your work. And this is like how I'm scaling my team right now. When I had like my previous company, we had 50 people inside to work on the same things right now that we're doing with a team of 8.
I think that's attractive to everybody.
Yes, like, but you have to understand what you do, like what you need to do. You have to know how the process, how a perfect process that you like looks like, because AI will not do that for you. So if you want to scale something that you don't know how to scale and you don't know how this process looks like, this is no way to go, I would say. So first, like, do it as a human, coming back to human as a service. Do it as a human, find a way to do it, and then scale it. Not the other way around. Like if you go to AI and like do it, tell AI like do it for me, it will do it for you in a creative way.
It's always given that answer, right or wrong. HaaS, human as a service, and being able to actually go through it firsthand and then allow the tools to be able to automate it for you, do it at a much larger scale and be able to grow in accordance.
Yes, and like start from small things. Don't automate like the huge thing. You'll fail with that. Small things, combine them together if they work, and one step at a time.
You make it sound so clear and so easy.
Wants to. It's difficult, but the first step is the most crucial one. It's really hard to start iterating. Like with some of my prompts, like I'll be honest, I iterated over 200 times on a single prompt. Like I have my history of like iterating on certain prompts. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Fear is an enemy. It could be a driver, but can prevent and have us put efforts in the wrong direction. This is such a valuable conversation to me, Tom. Thank you for taking the time to do this. It's a great outlook. It's a brilliant perspective that you're able to provide here. So many articles just make it sound like AI is going to take our jobs and replacement and this and that, where you're coming from a place of we can be more effective. 8 people can be more effective than 50. It could be more fulfilling for those 8 people at that. And we could eliminate redundancy, can eliminate fluff. We can put out stronger quality content and at higher volumes and more frequency at that, but it has to be following a very intelligent system. So we have to continue crafting that. And with it, these are logic tools that are very, very, very powerful and going to take us to the next stages of development.
Yeah, let's see what happens in the future. It will be really, really interesting.
Yeah. I've enjoyed this podcast so much. Can you imagine it being AI in the future? AI versions of us. We've taught the prompt how to speak.
People want to listen to humans, I think.
I agree. Well, thank you for showing up today as a human. Tom, where can people go to learn more? And what are some final thoughts you want to leave us with today?
So if you want to find me, like definitely look on LinkedIn, Tom Winter. I basically live there, my second home. And like, if you want to start the chat, like don't hesitate. I really love to talk to people just to see what people are doing. If you have any questions, really, just shoot a DM and I'll be happy to answer. With final thoughts, like don't be afraid to start testing out like things with AI, because right now is the time. You're doing that to make your company better, not to fire people. And if you will not do that, you will have to fire people because your competition will get better. Easy as that.
Seeing it firsthand in the industries that we touch, I highly encourage the audience to get in touch with Tom. It's a very generous offer, and have a warm marketing conversation, talk AI. Tom, thanks again. This has been such a privilege. Appreciate you taking the time to do this. Also want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot, Jason. It was amazing. Cheers.
Of course, my pleasure. Take care, guys. Yeah.